Welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight, Goelz and Jess Zimmerman. This episode is sponsored by Rock Mill Industries. And now your hosts, Daniel Kime and Alan McCutcheon.
Welcome to another episode of the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel.
And I'm your co-host, Alan.
Coming up, we have Goelz, Grammy-nominated and CPMA award-winning music educator.
Following Rod, we have Jess Zimmerman of the Jess Zimmerman Band, multi-Josie's Music Award winner and multi-CPMA award winner. Can't wait to sit down and talk to both of them. Let's get right to it.
Yes, sir.
And we're sitting down with Goelz. Rod, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, very welcome. I am honestly very excited to talk about your whole repertoire.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. You've been educating, making music for 33 plus years.
Yeah, long time. I'm old.
Start at the beginning, man. Tell us how you even got into it. What got you into music in the first place?
Kiss Army.
Kiss Army.
Yeah.
I can't say we've had that answer yet. So
that's
an awesome.
So right, 1978, Kiss released 5 albums. I was 10 years old in 1978, and they were the biggest band in the world. They were my generation's Beatles.
That makes sense.
They were my,
actually, yeah.
And some people are I know they love the Beatles, and I don't mean any sacrilegious to it, but that was the thing, that they were like superheroes and musicians all in one.
That's true.
So that was the magic. I got the magic from 10 years old, and that's like, I wanted to be maybe a carpenter, whatever I wanted to be before Kiss. I don't remember, but from that point
Kiss
on, I wanted to be Ace Frehley.
So
that was my.
Are we gonna get pictures of you with the face paint like
I have, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna use this for your cover picture.
All right.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I mean, it's true though. I mean, that truly was genius marketing of them. They're like, oh, we're rock stars and superheroes. That was for that time frame.
For my age group.
Yep.
For my age group, I was the perfect. Yeah, I loved rock and roll. I loved the music end of it.
They completely encompassed the imagination.
Yep, and it was like I heard Kiss Alive too, and Shock Me, and Ace Frehley doing the tapping a year before Eddie Van Halen was, and he was doing all this, and it wasn't as advanced as Eddie, but he was doing all this crazy stuff that sounded like aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go with that alien talk. So. But it sounded like outer space, and that's what he's trying to do.
That's awesome.
At that point, did you already play music, or is that what made you get into playing music then at that point?
I'm the only non-trumpet playing male in my house in 1978. My brother and my dad was a trumpet player. He played in the Marine Corps band. He was a swing guy. He was into like Glenn Miller and Stan Kenton, and Artie Shaw and Benny Goodman. Those were his heroes.
Yeah, some of the OGs.
Yeah. So that was my dad, but when he became responsible, when he went to school, college, and he became an accountant.
Okay.
And he played trumpet for fun. When my brother was the good son who did what he thought the parents, he wanted to play trumpet because my dad played trumpet.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
He was that guy, and I was the kid that got away with stuff. That's what my brother used to say. He goes, you got away with lots of stuff. And I said, you just didn't try. Because that was but that you can't, I don't know that you can help what you consider magic. If magic enters your life.
Yeah.
I didn't choose it necessarily. It was
music can choose you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have that one experience. It's like out of body.
It was not a trumpet wasn't a part of it. It's like 4th grade. Everybody, the whole table and Menchie Music shows up, and they have all these trumpets and trombones and glockenspiel, and it's like you try them all out. I didn't want any of those because of Ace Frehley.
Mm-hmm. You're like, where's the electric guitar?
Now, when I got the guitar for Christmas that year, I wanted to know how I can play in the orchestra with that, and they didn't have an answer for me.
That's
so. But they didn't have an answer for me.
Absolutely could do that though. I mean,
you can know now
as a music educator.
Yeah, absolutely. This is you become what you need, what you needed when you were a kid. Like these are things like, and I believe in that.
So
That's what sets you on the course.
Yes.
It's like from Back to the Future. You guys don't know about this yet, but your kids are going to love it.
Yes, exactly. That's absolutely it. It's like,
He's like, oh, you guys don't have the guitar in the orchestra? He's like, interesting.
Yeah.
Give me about 15 years. You're gonna.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
I'm gonna figure it out. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
so that's what started it. So, what really? So after you obviously fell in love with Kiss, and Kiss really impressioned on you.
It was, to be fair, it was all in general. Kiss was the number one, but I had Rush, I had Aerosmith, I had Styx.
Yeah.
That was probably, but Kiss was always number one. But it's like that was when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
But all those bands, A Grand Illusion by Styx, Pieces of Eight, I remember those being albums that I had. The first two albums I had was Kiss, Rock and Roll Over, and Rush, Caress of Steel.
I mean, you can't talk any kind of smack on Rush. Like Rush is like
the first
incredible.
garage bands I ever played in. We were just covering Rush because that's all drummers would want to play.
That makes sense because
Yeah.
it was so much fun
Yeah.
for a drummer. Like that's like it was a challenge, but
Yeah.
also a fun challenge for a drummer.
Yes.
Especially at that time, for sure. That makes total sense. So you went from Kiss to Rush to Styx, and then what started to make you kind of feel like, okay, we're gonna dabble in some of the piano. We're gonna dabble in the. I know we talked about this off camera, but
Yeah.
you also can educate on mandolin
Mandolin, yes. Well, yes, I can educate on mandolin.
and
And it's like,
ukulele.
I want to say that the only time I was out in California was with Killamane Saints, and it was because of a mandolin.
That's amazing.
But,
that's awesome.
But with that said, yeah, that is something I love, the mandolin, and it's like, but there's not too much call for it.
I
And
mean, I
I-
can't say that I'm surprised by that, but like,
But I think there should be more of a call for it, and it's like, in other words, here's where my mind thinks is like coming up with ensembles that are acoustic driven, and then like for teaching purposes, acoustic guitar, upright bass, mandolin, maybe accordion.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Dude,
something.
I actually also love the accordion. People like don't understand it, but it's like I don't know what it is, but like maybe it was like because of like pirates and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and they were doing
I
like
wanted
jodies and
like,
stuff like that. Like,
20 years ago, I wanted a Zydeco band, so I thought I gotta get an accordion.
A what? I'm sorry?
A Zydeco band. It was like it's like New Orleans folk music.
Okay, all
very
right.
celebratory.
that's awesome.
It's very accordion centered. Washboard.
I love the sound of the accordion.
Yeah. It's very New Orleans. I say New Orleans sounding, but in that southern sounding, it's a style of music, and it's
I can't say I've ever heard of it, but
yeah,
now I'm interested.
Zydeco.
Zydeco.
Yes.
I'm gonna look that up later because
So
that
that's,
sounds interesting. I
So
was gonna say something else.
So throughout the
sounds
throughout the 80s, I was a kid, graduated in 87. So I was a metal kid throughout my teenage years. When I left, I went to college, and I opened my eyes to all different kinds of music, and I would, just by learning this and being exposed to that, and as it would change me in ways that's I would wish that for anybody. So you're not just one thing.
yeah.
You're not just one thing. You're not just Ace Frehley, because I was already an Ace Frehley.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's how that all happened. It's like, as far as the multi-instrumental stuff happened, I started playing bass because they needed a bass teacher, and then I was working bass stuff out because of my guitar playing. My hero as a 21, 22-year-old was Joe Pass.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, so Joe Pass used to play these kinds of guitar parts that the bass line was interwoven with the chord changes, and then he would play saxophone lines over top of all at the same time.
Yep.
So how do you string bass lines and chords? Well, you got to learn bass lines first. So I learned all these bass lines from bass players because I wanted to be like Joe Pass.
Yeah.
That was my 20-something Ace Frehley.
Okay.
Okay. And then when I would go to the open mics, all these bass lines I learned, that made me the perfect bass player. Now, I could adapt really easily.
That makes
Because,
sense. Yeah.
Totally by accident, I learned the right stuff that helped me.
Kind of intermingle
in everything.
and then you can actually apply it.
Nobody told me to do that as a bass player. I was told to do that as a guitar player. This, you want to learn how to play like this, you got to learn bass lines, and you learn bass lines by listening to bass players. It's not it's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
makes sense. Right?
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, so
that's where that all thing. And then now the other thing is, the more I was exposed to, especially as a bass player, you're not just going to listen to Wasp.
Yeah, no.
You're not just going to listen to, or Kiss for that matter.
Yeah, Kiss.
Or, in other words, bass opens up a whole new world of musical opportunities and musical. I don't understand how a bass player cannot like funk. Because
it's like
it's
most,
the center of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most fun genre to play on bass,
Yes.
I would say.
Yes. There's so many really cool things you can do on a funky bass.
Bass gets spotlight a lot in that too.
They're not a subordinate instrument. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you said that you learned the bass because they needed a bass teacher. So I guess that's a good way to say it.
This is a funny thing. It's like initially I didn't have confidence in myself because I studied guitar my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm not a bass player. How am I going to teach bass? And the guy just screamed at me. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. It was at Stephen Nicholas Music on Pottery Hill in York.
Okay.
In 1989. Okay. Don't be stupid. It's like just, and he was right. He's right. There's a lot of stuff that I know that can be translated. It's not like just because I didn't have bass lessons since I was 10 doesn't matter.
It's true.
Yeah.
So then I'm a good student and I'm a good study. And it's like I was curious about things, and
I wish I could say that.
Well, you already have the theory behind it as well.
Exactly.
So that I'm sure
I'm not starting from scratch. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I played bass for a little bit when I was younger, and it's it certainly is one of those instruments where it is its own instrument. Just because you play guitar doesn't mean you can play bass, but it sure is going to help you a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it also my personality is like a support. It is a support. I don't need to be like in a room full of guitar players, like dweedly guitar players. I've been in those situations before where everybody, all the egos and all that. I'll play bass.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do my Yngwie licks around you guys. You can duel it out.
You guys
is it
can
because
have
you're
the
better than
contest.
all
Yeah,
of them?
right.
I'm just gonna come over here and just be very
I'll
confident.
just lay it down and
on my bass.
make it work. Make the bottom end work.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so you said because you had to teach it. Was that because you are an educator? Right?
Yes.
So could we talk about that a little bit?
Yes.
So tell us what you do with music education.
So I started out just as everyone else does, one-on-one. 94, I gave my first songwriting. It was in the weeks after Kurt Cobain died. And it was a Seattle conference. That's what I called it. And I taught people how to write songs. That was the first thing I ever tried that was on a bigger level. And it's like, this is with York Arts.
God, I feel like that would be almost even more like daunting than teaching someone. Like, I'm saying that as a compliment.
Yes.
Like, I feel like trying to help teach people learn how to write a song would be even more daunting than teaching them how to play an instrument, because you have a playbook for teaching them how to play an instrument. But like writing a song, I even struggle doing that as a songwriter sometimes.
Right. We would be talking about what I would take things from, like Aaron Copland talked about the germ theory. And it's like you take whatever you start with, you add to. That's the idea. Okay, so if I start with a groove, if I start with a drum beat, then add something to that drum beat. Okay. If I start with a melody, add chords to it. Fill it up, fill it around. A melody needs chord changes. A melody needs chord changes. Also stole a lot from Paul McCartney and his dummy lyrics idea. Okay, so it was like, if you don't have the right words right away, come up with the melody you want and put words to that melody, and then you have something that you're singing that you can put the right words in eventually.
I never even heard of that.
Yeah,
and that's
so what everybody has to do is check out Paul McCartney Scrambled Eggs.
Okay.
On YouTube, and he does it on the Jimmy Fallon show. It's like Scrambled Eggs was his yesterday. Scrambled eggs, how I love your legs. Body leaving scrambled eggs. That was how he wrote that song. So those are what we call dummy lyrics.
I've never heard of that.
I'm teaching you how to. Yeah, you already know how to write a song, but I teach you how to write a song.
You can teach me how to write it better.
Yes. So come up with a melody.
Okay.
Come up with a melody, and then put the words in, and then later on you can edit the words, and you can be specific about what you want to say and all that kind of stuff. So it's like writing of any kind. Edit, and you can put the stuff in.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a race. You don't rush it.
So learning best, my thing is for everybody, and what we were talking about, what I needed as a kid was somebody, like I needed band.
Yeah.
but I didn't need orchestra. I didn't need concert band. I needed band.
Like band.
Yeah.
Like,
so
I needed
that's
something
what
for the rock
that's
stars.
what I remember, like, kind of fantasizing about that. If my heroes could teach me how to do that, okay, how do we do that? So that's where you're taking these lessons and your guitar lessons and you're doing all this stuff, but you're not applying it anywhere.
Yeah.
You don't really know what you need to know
That's true.
until you start playing with people, and it's like, oh, you mean I don't have to learn everything absolutely note perfect? And maybe I should learn how to improvise a little bit. You know what I mean? Or maybe I should think about singing, because if I don't sing, I can't really write a song.
Yeah.
You know,
really did let music like truly like influence you and like shape you from such a young age. Like you literally were like, these are all the things that I don't have that I want with music. I'm going to be those things for the kids that feel just like I do.
Yeah. That's probably what it was. It's like, you can be whatever you want. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to, and I was also benefiting from it myself.
Sure, yeah.
I was all the questions that I was in needing for, I had to find answers for.
And then you were able to be the person to give the answer.
Yes.
When those same kids had the exact same question that you did.
Yes. And adults too. Adults, it's not just a kid thing. It's like, it's the songwriting. I think that anybody can benefit from that. I think it's wellness.
Therapeutic.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one of the things I want to talk to you. So you didn't just like dabble in like songwriting, and you haven't like been just like dabbling and educating. I mean, you're actually a Grammy nominated.
So
I want to clarify for the crowd here. Like, Rod Goelz isn't just like some guy. Like he's a Grammy nominated music.
And that's
educator.
a blessing. And I don't know how it happened. It's like, in other words, it's like I've been doing my thing forever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this is around the time I first met Terry.
Yeah.
This happened.
That
was a Grammy I was Grammy nominated.
What were you Grammy nominated for?
I guess
educator.
music education.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I didn't search it out because I didn't know it was a possibility.
So someone else put
because
you
I
in
didn't know
there.
music education. You can get a Grammy for that.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Yes.
Neither did I until I
Yes.
read it. But I was just like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's awesome. I mean, and then on top, so not only are you Grammy nominated, but I mean, you also won in 2022. You won a Central Pennsylvania Music Award for Best Music Lessons.
Yes.
So I mean, like, you're not someone that's just talking about like, oh, I do this for fun and it's cool. Like,
This is
if
my
any
life's
of our
work.
fans want to actually go to someone that can help them, learn an instrument, learn how to be a better songwriter. So Rod Goelz is your guy, and this is why we have him on.
It's my life's work. It is.
That is awesome.
And I will say that about I am lucky in that how many people find their life's work.
Not very many.
Not very
You know what I
many.
mean?
Yeah.
And you guys, this is cool.
Oh,
Thank you.
we
Yeah.
love doing this,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the full-time jobs that we do.
Well, this is
not
your
what
life's
we-
work.
This is our life's work.
This is
yes.
a part
Yes.
of it because
Well,
it
thank you,
starts.
Rob.
Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you know that.
Yes. Hold on.
Oh man.
So, like you said, though, music is wellness, and it can be
Music and
therapeutic.
wellness. Yep.
So you hold classes for individuals with physical and intellectual disabilities
Absolutely.
to allow them to have the pleasure of creation as well.
Yep.
Please tell me about that. I think that's awesome.
So it all started. So all the things that I teach. So prior to that, I've done the rock band stuff, and I continue to do it. And I even came up with a We Rockers, which was
That's
a
awesome.
nursery school,
Okay.
a nursery school music program that is not lame.
That's awesome.
Okay,
Awesome.
so the nursery school kids are learning about like who Stevie Wonder is and who Prince is and Michael Jackson and these icons, and then we're moving to their music, we're singing to their music, we're drumming, we're doing all this. So all those little disciplines, can be applied to any demographic.
Yes.
When I say that, somebody was asking for in Penmar. This is Penmar Human Services.
Mm-hmm.
I had an acquaintance that said, "Can you do this?" And it's like, I absolutely can. That is what I do. I come up with programs based on the needs of people, and we that's how that all got started. So music and wellness is we start off every session with movement and dance. So when I was at Millersville, one of the things I got out of that was absolutely essential was the idea of your rhythmics. Your rhythmics is meaning body motion affects your ability to keep time. It affects your ability to And if you're a musician, you know this. You didn't know there
Yeah.
was you didn't know there was a word for it. Okay, your body has to move a certain way for you in order to do certain things.
I mean, it makes sense. It's all about stage presence.
There is actually there was a name for it. Eurythmics is good rhythm. There's whole academies in Europe that are based on that premise.
Wow.
Not to mention the dopamine boost.
Okay.
Not to mention we get out of our heads and we're doing some of the silliest dance moves and movements, and we're not self-conscious anymore. It breaks through a lot of things. So we start everything off with dance. Then we move over to drums and rhythm. Then we can go into singing. We can go into hand drumming. We can go into, we have keyboards, and we talk about how we can create soft sounds and we can create hard sounds. We can even get into jam sessions where I made an instrument, a 3-string guitar that's tuned to a power chord. So
what?
Just by playing it, you sound like a rock god. And I give it to them, and it's like they if they can do it and count to 4 and strike on 1, I'm laying down a groove.
Yeah.
Have the keyboard player play in the same key, and it's like it is a dopamine boost for everybody who's there, and I'm myself included. Okay, so everybody, and one of the things that I'm finding out that in these situations, it is a really tough job. I realize that to be the personal caregivers for this.
Sure.
What the tendency is to think and to believe that what they're capable of is coloring books, doing art with coloring books.
Yeah.
These are this special needs communities.
Yeah.
They're capable of so much more, and this is what I have learned. Okay, and in the music, in it, yes, I could not have planned that.
That is awesome.
I could not have planned that.
That's brilliant.
I wish I was that smart. No, I'm serious. It's like the benefits, like, wow, because you see the dopamine, you see the smiles, you see we write songs. They're talking about the song like all day long, every day to their friends.
And they're like
that changes their life.
They wrote
music.
a song.
Music changes their life. We're talking about the magic.
Absolutely.
That is the magic. So it's passing on that. It's like I could not have planned that, but it's like this. It is all that is related to, like, as I said, the nursery school, We Rockers, to the rock band, the caregivers that were with them. You always have to have, whenever you're working with these places, people come in that they drive them in and they take care of them on their end, and they said, I wish I had this for me, like just me, like it's not just a special needs thing.
Yeah,
it's part. It's kind of like aerobics.
Yeah,
music. I teach. I have them. Okay, we're gonna be a rock star. We're gonna be like Mick Jagger. And how would Mick Jagger wave his hands when he's singing and entertaining an audience? And how does he struts across the stuff that does to you and changes you in ways that you can't even imagine. And I say this, I'm saying this for myself too, because I gained from it.
Like, the only thing that I have, like, that's even remotely close to that is, like, when I think about, like, times when I performed on stage, like, you know, because you're the artist, you know that breakdown's coming, so you're going to do something, whether it's, like, you spin the mic at the right time so you catch it again and go right into the breakdown, or you get that stomp right on the right beat and you just see, like, the crowd go wild. Like, that's, like, the closest thing I have to that. But when you talk about the dopamine boost, when you know you nailed that stomp right on time, you're like,
well, awesome. That's like Pocket, though.
Yeah.
So in my line of work, that's what. Yeah.
That's like small compared to what you're describing.
No, I'm not saying that. No, that's magic too, and I'm grateful for it. I don't, as I said, some of this I can't take. I don't know where it comes from, but in other words, I stumbled upon it. I do what I do, and this community completely benefits from it.
I think this community has definitely.
Yeah, so and the other thing is having that same kind of thing for elderly people. That's the next step. That's a next layer, because people, on a serious note, my dad retired. Within 4 years, he was dead, because when you stop producing and thinking and moving forward and having objectives, when you do that for 50 years or more, and then you stop, and then it all is done, and you don't have any hobbies and you don't have any things to do that, you're going to go down quick.
Mm-hmm.
So
I never even thought about that.
So this is as I said, these things that I teach in the music and wellness, that's another community that can absolutely benefit and will.
Is this something that we can expect from Rod here
I'm getting
soon?
to the point where I'm getting older too, so I can appreciate a lot of that stuff. Because
I always say I'm 33 going on like 60.
Yeah.
Like all my family members tell me, "Oh, just wait until you hit 40, wait until you hit 50." And I'm like, "Dude, I feel every injury from when I was a teenager and everything now." So I'm right there with you.
That broken collarbone you got in 8th grade.
Yes, exactly.
Somebody picked you up and
sleep on it wrong, and you're like, there's that collarbone acting up again.
Doing the professional wrestling move.
Yeah, it's exactly
Thank you,
right.
Dan Gross. You body slammed me.
But
hope you're watching.
Yes.
So, Rod, I want to take this time to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Seriously.
Thank you. Seriously.
Thank Brandon.
Hey, thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
But seriously, this community has definitely benefited from your
work,
your outpouring, and your dedication to what you do. And I honestly can't wait to see like what else you contribute. And I can't wait to touch base with you here. I mean, especially if we do this elderly thing.
Yes.
If we do this elderly program, I want to hear how this plays out. I want to hear the stories. I want to hear about the experiences. So I mean, I don't think this will be the last time we have you on, Rod.
I don't think so either. And thanks for this. This is wonderful. For telling my story.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling my story.
It deserves to be heard. That's for certain.
He took the words right out of my mouth. It deserves to be
what I
heard.
do.
Man. Yeah, absolutely, man. Rod, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the fan? Where can they book with you? Where can they find
Okay,
your
so what I'm
information?
doing now, so the rock band program is at Rock Mill. We're all fans of Rock Mill.
We love Rock Mill.
Rock
Shout
Mill.
out Rock Mill.
Yep. Logan Summy, Terry Selders.
All of them.
All those, yes.
All the boys.
Okay, so Rock Mill, we're doing rock band. I'm doing the rock band program there. That's right now. That's all teens.
Okay.
Okay. In York, I'm doing at Union Lutheran Church. I am doing all the music and wellness related activities. Okay, so if anybody in a group like Penmar, any of those kind of people, they want to get in touch with me, they can just get in touch. Well, I don't know if there's send a link to my or whatever.
We're going to put all of your information in there that you guys will be able to click if you're interested. Just see the link
if
below.
If you're interested in that, I'm on board. And then I imagine I'm at the adult version of Rock Band, the I don't know what the Silver Sneakers, not the Silver Sneakers version of Rock Band.
Okay, yeah,
okay,
absolutely, yeah.
That could be either place.
Okay.
And so could music and wellness. I could do music and wellness in Mechanicsburg too. So shout out to Rock Mill. Shout out to Union Lutheran. They've been a blessing. Awesome. They're supportive of everything I do. Okay, and then there again, I'm just grateful. How can you not be?
Yeah,
I'm grateful for your time here, man.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
With that though, Rod, it was a pleasure sitting down with you. Like I said, we will have the link down below. If you guys want to get in touch with him, then go ahead and click the link, and maybe I'll hit you up for a mandolin lesson.
Yes, I would gladly.
All right.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod.
I think it's safe to say Rod is a wealth of knowledge.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest contributions we have to the local music scene and helping build and continue to build the local music scene.
Yeah, absolutely. So please, everyone, stay tuned. We have Jess Zimmerman next. And we're sitting down with Jess Zimmerman of the Jess Zimmerman Band. Thank you so much for your time and coming on.
Jess Zimmerman.
Thank you guys for having me.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
Thanks. This is awesome. I'm super pumped.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that we've talked about off camera. We're not going to talk about that right now. But what we are going to talk about is you released a 4th studio record back in May, correct?
I did. The whole band went to Nashville and we released it May. It's called Be the Light. It's got 10 tracks on it. And it's been doing really well. It's been growing and shining. It's doing awesome. So
Planted your little seed.
Yes,
Now
I planted a little seed.
Now it's a sapling and it's growing into a tree now.
That's right.
And so that wasn't the only thing you did when you were down in Nashville. Am I correct? I mean,
You are correct. That was in May. And then we actually just went back in October. and we performed at the Josie Music Awards, which was held at the Grand Ole Opry House. So we got to perform on the iconic stage of the Grand Ole Opry House.
What did it feel like to stand in that little circle of the original flooring?
Oh, man. So, honestly, we did sound check because everyone wants you to believe that none of that ever happens. And I'm going to tell you right now, you do a sound check,
Absolutely.
okay? It's not, you don't just walk out the CMAs and you never did that before. Like, you have a sound check. So, I mentally prepared myself for, like, that would be the first time I'd stand in the circle.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, I was like, okay, this is just a circle. And then, like, it kind of hit me of like, wow, this is like all of the people I looked up to and years and years and years and years of just music and generations and souls that have walked through this building.
Mm-hmm.
And not only what that circle represents. So the sound check, I felt really good afterwards. And then when we got ready to do the performance, I felt so centered off stage. I was like, I just took in the whole moment. And, as soon as they said my name to perform, I walked out and I remember nothing.
Isn't it crazy how that
remember
can happen?
nothing. And honestly, I'm so sad about that because I was like so there, like mentally prepared, and I walked off stage after it was over and I was like, what just happened? And I'm like, I hope somebody filmed that because I didn't remember any of it. And then my body like went on autopilot, which was great because that's what I've worked for my whole life at this point.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so the performance was good. I, always have your own critiques, but everything went well. It wasn't traumatic, but I was like, wow, I literally thought I had the cat in the bag and I was going to remember it like it would never leave. And it was like, after I got off stage, I'm like, I don't even know what just happened. Like, that was amazing. It was so good. I guess I blacked out for a minute. I don't know.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was
I'm
so
sure
good.
that endorphin rush and the dopamine was like insane.
Yeah, like the best 3 minutes I've had in a long time.
We're just gonna leave it there on that one.
There.
Leave it
It's
right
so
there.
good. It was.
And you were there performing, but you also in 2023 you won Best Country Rock Band.
Yeah.
So not only you performed there, but you were there to also receive an award.
Yes.
So you won Best Country Rock Band in 2023.
Yeah.
But you also won Best Country Rock Album in 2022 at the
Yes.
Josie Music Awards.
Just
And-
out here getting all the awards.
Yeah.
And I
That's
mean, while
amazing.
we're at
Yeah,
it, let's just
putting them
keep
in
the
the-
train rolling. I mean, you also won Best Country Band in 2021 for the Central Pennsylvania Music Awards.
CPMAs.
CPMAs, what's up?
Yes.
And in
Us.
2019, that was the first CPMAs.
Yeah.
You won Best Female Vocalist.
Yeah.
So, like,
First one.
what's next? Where's Jess Zimmerman going with this? When can we see you at the Country Music Awards?
I'd like to say last year, but that didn't. I don't know. I honestly, like, anytime, especially this past year, and even like any award we've ever gotten, and I know the band isn't with me, but I'm speak for them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we work so hard at what we do, and to be acknowledged and like kind of recognized for that, it's always an honor. Like, I never expect that ever.
Yeah.
Like, I just go, I do my thing, I want to give 110%, and if someone else wins, I hope that they won because they gave 110%.
Absolutely.
So I don't know what's next. Aside of we're working on some new music, which even though we just put out a new album, you're always working on new things.
Of course,
yeah.
of course.
Oh my. Yeah,
Always.
Of course. Always.
So we're working on new music. When that will come out, I don't know fully. And then we're doing live shows all the time. I'm very busy with live shows, so that's kind of been like my bread and butter right now. Looking into the new year, I'm hoping that what we did at the Josie Awards in Nashville, and with winning that award and then coming up with the CPMAs and all of that, hopefully getting nominated for some things in that for the new year. I'm just kind of like, okay, the doors, hopefully they'll open and I'm ready to walk through them. So I don't really know.
You're just waiting for someone to hand you that key to unlock that door.
That's right. Yeah. Or just call me and say, hey, the
It's unlocked.
CPMAs want you and
walk in.
we're ready. Why not? That's the sky's the limit at this
Absolutely.
point.
Yeah.
But you've got to be. I did not mean to cut you off. What does that feel like though? And like you said, you go through all these experiences. You're honored to have these experiences. But
Yeah.
sitting now on our podcast, not saying that we're anything huge or anything like that, but to have someone just go through like your accomplishments, what does that feel like for you? Just to is that like almost like surreal?
Yeah, actually, before we went to Nashville, I actually took time I went in my journals that I had, because I try to be very mindful about journaling. I'm not an everyday journaler, please don't think that, but I do try to journal and just like landmark certain things in my life, because at some point I'm gonna forget, but there's certain things I don't want to forget. And so leading up to, you know, having the opportunity to perform and just knowing that we've won these awards, you know, not only in Pennsylvania, but just the recognition that we've been getting, I didn't want to forget that. So I went back in time and I've found so many different places in my journals where like I wanted all of these things. Like I wanted to be recognized for my vocals. I wanted my band to be recognized. I wanted to release an album from Nashville, and now we have 4. I wanted to play the Grand Ole Opry. And so like to write these things and then see them come to fruition later on, however many years later, is like, wow, like this is possible. Like I'm just a person, but I can do these things. Like I can make these happen, and I can have a team that also believes in me. So like it's really surreal, honestly. Like I actually got like really nervous and sick about 3 days later after we performed at the Grand Ole Opry. Like I didn't process any of that until after it happened, and I got like nervous. I was like shaking, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like I already did it, but I think I suppressed it and just did my job. I was like, I'm going to go out there and just do what I do. And then like real life hit me where I was like, wow, I've dreamed for this my whole life. And I just did it. So now I want to go back and do the Grand Ole Opry debut where I play 3 songs instead of 1.
And now amazing. You can actually not black out the entire. Now, if you do 3 songs and you come up the stage again and you're like, wait, what? Son of a gun.
That's a medical condition.
Exactly.
See a doctor.
I'm going to go to the doctor.
Probably a neurologist. You got something going on there. But
something's not right.
I mean, it's true, though. I mean, you say something that we've heard a lot of musicians on the show say. It's like, if you want something, like something like, I mean, to be a musician and say, I want to play the Grand Ole Opry, like that's not an elementary task. Like that's a pretty significant task. But every musician we've talked on, like, or had on here to talk about it, they say, like, you have to want it. Like, you have to keep doing the work, even when you think like it's not going. You have to keep pushing forward. Yeah. And I mean, I would assume you agree with that sentiment and that mindset.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, like, there's different days for me where like I don't feel like I'm doing enough, you know, or like I should be doing all this stuff because you have social media, you have. You know,
you get me started on social media.
Yeah, I mean, you have all of the other things that, you know, quite a few years ago, as a musician and an artist, you didn't do. You just crafted your art. And now, as an artist, not only are we independent, so we don't have a record label. You know, I'm creating, I'm designing, I'm writing music, I'm singing, I'm planning shows, I'm booking shows, I'm planning routes. My band also helps with that too, but it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so when something doesn't go right, it's not my manager's fault, it's my fault.
You're like, I can't wait to reprimand me.
Yeah. Or like someone comes, how much you want for this gig? And it's like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, well, let me just talk to my manager, because it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To, you know, you have to almost play that card. To be professional. So, I think you really do have to want it. And, our lifestyle, like my husband and I, we don't have kids. Not that you can't live this lifestyle, but, I'm home for 3 days. I have 4 shows then. So I'm only home for a week. I'm back in Florida for 4 more shows. And then I come back home. And so that's hard when you have a family and children and all of that. And so it's a lifestyle I've chosen, my husband's chosen, my bandmates have chosen. So you really have to want it in all avenues. If you really want those certain goals, like
absolutely,
the Grammys or, you know, the Grand Ole Opry or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of hard work and determination for something like that. And I mean, we talked a lot about your accomplishments. Where did this all start for anybody that, you know, doesn't know your music, you know?
You know, I grew up in a household that was very musical. I grew up on a dairy farm, like the traditional Lancaster County, like kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I grew up on a dairy farm, and my grandma is very musical. She plays the Hawaiian, she plays the mandolin, the accordion. She plays all of these instruments, and she always did that as something I remember growing up, you know, and so it was always instilled in me, and I just found a place in singing where I could kind of feel like I could be another person. You know, I didn't really like who I was growing up. I struggled with mental health. I still do to this day. And so music was that for me. So like my mom has a video. She actually just found it the other day, and we pieced it together from 1994. I'm going to give my age away. I was 2. And we pieced it together. I was singing in a microphone, and we put it next to the Grand Ole Opry footage, which I was like, how cool is that?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been my whole life. I mean, I don't know that I necessarily one day was like, I'm going to sing. It's part of me. Music is part of me, and it's part of my DNA. It's part of who I am as a person.
Yeah.
So
Once
much.
A musician, always a musician, honestly.
Yeah, I don't really know how else to explain it.
We were literally just talking before either one of our guests today got on. It was like, for the first time in like months, I was just practicing screaming in my car, and I'm not in a band currently. There's no reason for it, but I was like, I just missed it. Like I was like, time to dust off the brush off the rust.
It's like a muscle. I mean, we're working on some stuff now musically. Like, you know, I've taken voice lessons. I started when I was 8. You know, on and off still now, and I'm like doing some stuff musically in some of my vocal. I'm like, whew, they are dusty, but I sing all the time. But certain things that genres and parts of my range, I'm like, I gotta start running up and down the stairs is what I need to do.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I listened to some of the old stuff that I used to be able to do, and I was like, who was that man that was wearing my skin? Because I am not hitting those notes anymore.
I need to get back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry.
You just looked at me. I was like,
do you sing?
The
interview's changed, by the way.
You know what?
I'm not very good now.
You interview us, Jess.
Yes. Do you sing?
No, just piano. Not piano. Guitar. Yeah.
Love
ukulele. Love it. Love the ukulele.
You do love the uke.
I do.
We
It's
might
so much
need
fun.
a uke player in our band someday.
Hey, let me know.
Grand Ole Opry's missing a uke player.
I got you. I'll bring some Honolulu vibes. It'll be great.
Danny's like, I have no idea how I got here.
I haven't played this since 12th grade.
That is all of us. We know. Honestly, I don't really know if anyone's know how we got anywhere. So
yeah, I don't even know how we got here. I think we all kind of fell backwards into it.
Brandon. He's
good
the one.
old Brandon.
We love
Shout
you.
out.
Love you, Brandon.
Yes.
So do you have any tours coming up here soon, or?
So what I was saying earlier, we kind of play live shows here and there. I'm back and forth to Florida a lot in the wintertime. One, because it's cold in Pennsylvania, and I just don't care for that. But we have a big show December 16th coming up at Mickey's Black Box, which is on the Rockleditz campus.
Yes.
Is amazing.
We
love that place.
We love the Mickey's Black. Oh. Okay, Jess.
Love
all right.
it.
Just holding it.
I'll just sing the rest of my interview.
Sneak peek of what you can see at Mickey's Black Box December 16th.
I dare you. You got to sing the rest.
I didn't warm up.
Chris is gonna hate that for like. He's like, oh, I gotta tune all of this right now. Like, not that you need the tuning. But
I was just gonna say, please. I don't have perfect pitch, so
and
my vibrato is like a train wreck sometimes.
We'll make you sound like Lil Wayne. It's okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Or T-Pain.
That is a genre I might need to branch into. You know, maybe country won't open arms to me, and I'll just have to jump the fence. You know,
I was
There
gonna
you
say,
go.
if your vibrato right there sounded like a train or whatever, like. No, your vibrato sounds like a Maserati compared to mine. That sounds like a train that's been off the rails for a very long time. And
Yeah.
it's not even in service anymore. But we'll be okay. You could sing the rest of the interview. We'd be fine.
We can get you there.
I'll
I think
take
we know
it.
a guy for that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, Mickey's Black Box.
Yeah, Mickey's Black Box.
We have talked about that multiple times. The sound there is incredible. You have been there multiple times. I mean, your husband actually works there sometimes
Yes,
as well.
Yeah, he runs
I mean,
lights LD there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't say enough good things about Mickey's Black Box. Just like the management, like the staff, everything. It's just
Everything.
like it's so good.
Well, and the history going into Rockleditz, I mean, with the Clare brothers, live music wouldn't be what it was if it wasn't for them.
Right.
So.
You know, Clare Brothers, Tate Towers, everything that is encapsulated in Rockleditz. Like, sometimes I don't think that, like, the folks in Lidditz really know what they're around.
Right.
You know, us coming in that are involved in the industry, we're like, do you guys know what this is?
Yeah.
Like,
This is the holy grail of
yes,
music.
yeah, like
It's
this
our
is
Willy Wonka's chocolate
amazing.
factory.
Yeah.
We're just like, do I have a golden ticket? Like, can I buy a
Right.
golden ticket?
Well, and that's how even the first time. So we've played at Mickey's Black Box. I think this will be our album release was there. They graciously allowed us to do our whole album release party. It was so cool, and we did 2 other shows there. And prior to that, but going in there, I'm like, am I allowed in here? Like, am I supposed to be in here? Like, are you guys really like? Do you know who I am? Like, I'm really not, like, but they open arms to you as if, like, you are just as important as some of the names that they have walk through the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, like, what makes them even more spectacular.
They're a cut above
Yeah.
the rest.
Yeah.
100%. They
Yeah.
treated us the same way when we were there to interview other bands.
Yeah.
They treat, like, we were nervous for sure. And like you said, we walk in and there's the person we're supposed to be interviewing, and we're like, oh, hi. And then they're like, oh, you guys are the podcast? And we're like, yeah.
You know
Like,
who we are?
follow us. And we're like, okay.
You don't need to wand me?
Yeah. it was crazy, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that's what puts them a cut above the rest.
They're like the Chick-fil-A of music venues, honestly.
That's 100. That is the best thing ever.
Bless.
If
I love
if
it.
Willy Wonka and Chick-fil-A combined,
Made a
that's
music
rock
venue.
limits
And Mickey's Black
and Mickey's
Box.
Black Box. That's the best example we've had. To, I love you, buddy.
Thank you.
was
It's all up
good.
here.
Get some Chick-fil-A on my way home because it's not Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Man, I might have to do that now, too.
Yeah.
Whew. So that's your big show coming up December
Yeah.
16th. And then you said you'll be playing in Florida over the winter. So
Yeah, we'll be playing at the Hard Rock Cafe in Tampa after a couple weeks, actually. So we're really all over. And our main reason for going to Florida is, one, like I said earlier, it's cold. 2, it's a area we don't reach unless we really go there. I mean, you have social media and you have your playlists and stuff, but sometimes being in front of people is really the only way you can reach them, because sometimes they're not listening on their phone or they're not looking for new music.
100%.
And so I will say we really do push the limit when it comes to, we play covers, but I'm not a cover band. So like a lot of times we'll go places and they're like, well, how many covers can you play? Are you going to play all originals? We don't want that, da-da-da. So we go in as a cover band, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not me. And then we'll just first set, slip a song in. Second set, you get 2 more, 3 more songs in. You obviously see how the crowd reacts, but if we
That's
get
genius,
asked,
though.
yeah, if we get asked to come back, sometimes I'm playing with the guys. We're playing like 4 or 5 of our original songs in one set, and people don't know, which is amazing to me because I'm like, I'm doing something right. But 2, we're reaching people that may not ever have listened to our stuff. They're only liking the hits,
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, like a perfect example, like Yam Yam, like the band
Yeah.
Yam. If I would never have seen them live, and you just told me to listen to a band named Yam Yam, I would never listen to it. Like I just know that's how my brain works. But
Well,
like we've
sometimes
talked about
that's-
this
yeah.
multiple times on the show. Sometimes getting to actually watch and see someone perform and see that energy coming off them,
Right.
that changes entirely how you like view their music and everything. And that I understand exactly what you're saying. Sometimes getting in front of people, that is a huge difference between they heard a 10-second clip of you on
Right.
TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like totally different.
Like for us as a band, there's so much more. So we do country and we do classic rock. If we play cover stuff, then we throw in some pop. We play in whatever might be a hit on the radio too, like just to get people out. Because if we play somewhere, the demographic is always different.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But our original stuff is a big combination of country, because that's what I grew up on, and then my band is rockers. They grew up, Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, all of the OGs.
Yeah, the good ones.
I could go and list them, but if you listen to classic rock, So like that cocktail together has just kind of created what we are, and so we're not really one or the other. And I think that's also what helps us be able to like push the limit a little bit,
Yeah.
because we're reaching both sides, and then on the same time we're throwing in whatever someone might hear on the radio.
Yeah.
So it's been working out really well, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if we should do this, like, and then we just do it, and you just hope for the best. And if people leave, they leave. But no one's forcing them to stay.
What you just said though, like I mean, it transitions perfectly into what I was going to ask next. You're like, I'm not necessarily country, we're not necessarily rock. This is where my roots come from. This is where their roots come from, and it works perfectly together. Right. You are a Central PA musician. Yes. The reason why the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame and the Central Pennsylvania Music Awards exist is because we feel there is something so unique here in Central Pennsylvania. Being one of those unique Central Pennsylvania music artists, what do you think is unique about Central PA? What do you think that thing is?
I'd have to agree with that, is that there is so much like uniqueness. I guess, is that the right word?
Sure. Yeah. It's gonna be.
I made it up. But there is, and it's like I've always felt that way. We were talking earlier off camera that like there's not a box, and I don't want a box. And anyone's like, oh, like I've had people like, you're not country, and I'm like, well, what is country? Yeah. What is it? Like, please sit and tell me what country is, because that's what country is to you. But that maybe not isn't what country is to me, you know?
True.
And vice versa of any genre. But I think when you have people in Central Pennsylvania where there's so many different cultures of life too that have cultivated and grown in Pennsylvania, and that comes out in your music, because you have people from, you know, it's not necessarily a melting pot, but like some of the other cities across the U.S., but there are a lot of people that grew up country and then they join a rock band or they do jazz or you know, R&B, and it just becomes something in its own manner that never existed before. And I think that is one thing that's really cool about Central PA. And then if you look at the list of people that have, I want to say made it. I've never liked that term, because I don't ever want to make it, because I feel like if I made it, then I'm done, and that means I'm finished. I want to be making it. I want to continually
making it.
Yeah, because if I've made it, then I'm here, and then I'm gonna go here, and I don't want this ride unless I have to, or that I just, you know, it's my time to leave this earth.
And then you just put your hands up and you go, wee.
And I'm like, take me, Lord, it's fine. But you know, like we were saying, there's so many people. If you look at that list of you know, greats and stuff, there's a lot of people from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, a lot.
I'm like, what's in the water here?
I wish we knew.
Good musicians. That's what it is.
3 Mile Island. That's what's in the water here.
That and Amish food.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. You gotta get some of that
whoopie pies.
Scratch. Yeah. Shoe fly pie.
Yes. Lancaster County at its best.
Lebanon sweet bologna.
Yes.
Radiated bologna. Love it. That's what it is. That's what makes musicians
and catfish out of the Susquehanna.
Yes. Exactly right. That's right. Yes. You got to get on the west side. Maybe you'll be a little bit better. But I think that really is. It's just this. There's so much rooted here, and it comes out in music. And I think that's what's cool about the CPMAs, is recognizing that, because as independents, we're really and I don't want to say that and sound like selfish, but like we're the glue that holds a lot of music together.
You are.
You know, there are so many, and like you had to start somewhere. You know, the people that you hear on the radio didn't just roll over one day and say, hey, I'm going to be, on the radio. I mean, and if they did, please send the recipe, because
yeah, right. I'm interested.
I'd like to buy it.
Just let me know what I have to preheat my oven to, and just to continue to make it.
Yeah,
like,
I'll probably burn it because I'm not a cook, but it's fine. It is what it is. But I think that is for me, that would be what I think I've noticed about it.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to see it's growing too, in a way where we're all growing together. There's a lot of support in the music community now, where artists are supporting each other. It's not a competition. Yes. Everybody wants the best for everyone, and I think that's great.
Yeah, that's so true. And I've never understood the competition part of it, because it's like, if you want something so badly that you're willing to knock somebody else out of like their passion and career to the point that they're devastated and never want to do it again, like maybe you need to check yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
before
I understand. I understand wanting to do your best, and like, you want to do your best. So you want to win, but like you don't want to take
at what cost?
Right. What's the cost?
Yeah. Where's your line in the sand morally?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, to me, that's
big red flag.
Yeah, that's a big red flag, and I don't know that I would be someone I would want to work with.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah. I mean, we saw it a little bit back in the past, where there was the competitiveness, but like the music scene recently, like in later years, like it has been just so positive. And I think, and not to like, I'm not trying to toot our own horn here, but like, I think the fact that people, like even like if you want to say the music industry, like whatever that is, like the big music, they are recognizing there is something special here, and we are highlighting what's special here. And I think that in and of itself does help continue to fuel like the people that are like just maybe even thinking about becoming a musician or trying to do it. Like, you know what, like, everyone else started at this spot, at this level too. Yeah. Why can't I continue? And I think it just helps fuel. It's like, we going to highlight how unique we are. So let's keep it unique. Let's keep it going. Let's keep like producing greats. I want to see everyone here succeed.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with that. I think even when I was in Nashville, that was something I noticed, even in another state, that people, you know, Nashville is a cutthroat town. It's hard, especially for country music. You're a dime a dozen down there, you know, and it's hard. But seeing so much positivity come out of something that was independent as well, it made me feel like I was like, you know, I'm from Pennsylvania. I am representing everything that I come from in PA, wherever I am, whether I'm playing in Pennsylvania or Florida or Tennessee, whatever. And I want that to be positive. I want people to feel good about their shows and their interactions with me. You know, there is a business side where you do have to put business involved.
Of course, yeah.
But at the same time, I don't have to be, you know, I don't have to destroy a relationship at the end of it. Yeah. It's like, you do you, I do me. I can respect that, and we can go our own ways, but we can still thrive wherever we're at.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really cool. That, I mean, it feels like we're all on the same page with that.
Yeah. 100%.
I think so too. You were saying something. Why do we keep doing this now?
I don't know. Tonight we're on like a weird energy.
I keep stealing all your thoughts.
Yeah, and you keep stealing my thoughts. But I was just going to say, Jess, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us. It's truly been a pleasure to even just have conversation with you, share laughs with you, share the stories. I honestly can't wait till the next time we have you on.
Yep.
And I can't wait to see all the cool things that you're going to do. And we're going to see you at the CPMAs, correct?
I hope I get nominated. The nominations are open.
Oh, you're gonna. Come on.
You're gonna.
I'm never expecting anything. So if you're going to nominate, I need nominated.
Now, throw it in there. Now's a good time to say nominations are open, so make sure you go and check those out.
Just opened.
Yep.
And so, where can they all check out your music? I'm assuming all the big ones: Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon.
Yes.
All of them.
If you type in the Jess Zimmerman Band and you don't find us, please let me know because I'm doing something wrong.
And I got to address that.
I will take care of that. You can find us there. Our webpage has a lot of information, our shows, because we play out of state a lot, which is jzband.org. And you know, all the socials, all of the things. It's but thank you guys for having me. This is cool. When you guys started this, I was so excited because I thought it was so cool that it was like, you know, a conversation, intimate, and I'm like finally glad I've been able to sit down and have a conversation with you guys.
Of course. Thank you so much for your time and coming on.
Absolutely.
We love doing this.
And we enjoyed every moment of it.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was Jess Zimmerman. Thank you so much, man.
Still is Jess Zimmerman.
It still is.
and it will continue to Jess because she will continue to make it Jess Zimmerman.
Yes, forever. Forever.
Slow clap.
Yeah. But seriously.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
And another great episode. Sitting down with Rod and Jess, both great guests. We literally could have talked to them all night.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad we had the opportunity to sit down and get to chat with them.
And with that, stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then.